There'll never be another alt season. That's the narrative we're hearing right now. But let's be honest, that's the equivalent of saying real estate will never increase in value, precious metals will never rally, tech stocks have been tapped out, there is no more growth in the future. It's just not realistic. And what's causing this is pretty clear. You look into the past. What happened in 2025? Bitcoin hit a new and significant all-time high. We take a look at XRP. We had to squabble about what the previous all-time high was just to squeak out a few cents to set a new top. Ethereum, I mean, it technically set a new all-time high, but it's a rounding error. As an asset class, altcoins just did not perform. It didn't happen for us. Sure, there were trading opportunities. You bought XRP at 50 cents. You were a really long-term XRP holder or Ethereum holder. You saw gains in your portfolio, but going cycle to cycle, we're not actually showing growth. Not yet. But when you look at what's going on, it's easy to see why. Bitcoin, it's done. The last piece of the infrastructure is the ETF. You are buying Bitcoin, you are holding, and you're waiting for demand to drive the price up. That is it. There's nothing more once you get the ETF to wait for. And the singular risk for all of cryptocurrencies, the biggest risk there is that No Clarity Act gets done and the next administration is adversarial. And what's your commitment if you invested in Bitcoin? Well, if you see that happen, if you see a result you don't like, you click a little button, you sell your Bitcoin ETF, and you're out. There's not much commitment here. Altcoins are a totally different animal. Value is derived from doing complex transactions on the blockchain, driving utility, rewiring financial systems. If we're looking at Ethereum, we got to get stock exchanges to change their infrastructure over to smart contracts. If we're looking at international payments, you got to start using the XRP ledger. If you're using Solana for high frequency trading, you are going to be spending billions of dollars transferring those systems, that architecture, to a totally new system. You're going to have money in hardware, engineers, compliance through attorneys, entire legal teams here to make sure this is done right. And then if we don't get the clarity we need, and you get an adversarial administration that says you cannot do this, what are you going to do? Take all that hardware, throw it away? Fire all the experts in blockchain and just go back to using your old and antiquated systems? Do you know what would happen? Bitcoin, for what it is essentially done. You buy it, you hold it, you hope other people buy it. Great, yay for that. But altcoins, your investors, they don't only have to understand what you're doing, but they have to trust that you're able to do it, that it's go time, and that transfer over is no longer testing or fringe use cases, that it is full steam ahead here. Because otherwise, if you're just buying a coin to hold it and hope that a demand increases the price, you're just going to buy Bitcoin. You don't need to worry about XRP and payments or Ethereum and stock brokerages or Solana and high frequency trading, because it's not going to be done to the level you need to really drive demand. You're just not going to go there. Why would you? And that's what you see happening right now with institutions. They're starting to dip their toe in that pond because they know what's coming. But until we know legally that this build out can commence, you go with the safe bet. You go with the easy bet. Bitcoin is still going to outpace real estate, precious metals over the long term in real estate. That's going to be the case. So you don't need to make the riskier bet that you're just not sure of yet, because we have to see clarity. It has to get done before you see a bank, put billions of dollars to transfer over, or a stock brokerage, or whatever you're trying to do, a big tech company, redesign everything they do. Because in a lot of ways, big tech companies are just moving money around. That's what they do. That race does not start until you have absolute clarity in this country. And as Charles has said, once these laws pass, we're stuck with them. So it doesn't matter if you get a adversarial to crypto administration in the future. They're not going to go back and change that stuff. It's signed in blood, man, for eternity. We're going to be stuck with it for the good and the bad. Listen, this bill will not be perfect, but it will never be perfect. It will never, ever be perfect. And the question is, if we punt this issue to 2028, what does it look like then? And it's the unknown. We don't know. We do not know what the next administration will be like. They might be more reasonable. They might have better policies. Yay for that. But you also might get Elizabeth Warren writing the rules of the road for the next 100 years. Do you want that? Do you want to chance that? And especially given this, you're dealing with government, man. You're not going to be free to just do whatever you feel like in DeFi. It's going to be restrictive. The crypto community is not going to love it. But guess what? We have decentralization. We can do what we feel like. But if you want to integrate with traditional finance, to get approval by the government, you're not going to like every policy they have. You just got to understand that. They're going to want the KYC stuff. They're going to want to monitor transactions, and we got to keep that to a minimum. We got to defend your ability to have self-custody wallets for these assets, to not be treated as securities, to not require chains, to do rollbacks and freezes on, your main assets, on your native assets. I mean, those are all things that they could push for, and we just have to say no matter what, no. But, you're going to have to concede some stuff. Best believe it. But once that happens, once they know the rules of the road, the build out continues. And what's exciting for altcoins, again, Bitcoin is done. You buy it, you hold it, you wait for more people to buy it. But the build out for altcoins is going to take decades as they integrate and continue to build out the capabilities of these chains and the integration. It's not a short process. It gives you a lot of growth going forward. It gives you a bright future. We haven't even started that process yet. That's what's exciting. That's what the growth ahead of us means. But it's easy to understand why we haven't captured that yet. You're not there. You haven't even started that journey. People are testing things. People are, doing transactions on a global scale, but not at full scale. Your financial giants, your big tech, firms, they are not integrating with this technology yet until those rules are in place. But when they are, it's full steam ahead, and that's where altcoins shine, where the technology is really being used at scale to change the world, to change the future. That's what matters for altcoin. There'll never be another alt season. I would argue the biggest alt seasons of all haven't even happened yet, because what makes altcoins great can't start. And don't fool yourself, it's a complicated area, and we can't know for sure until we start sprinting for scale exactly what matters. Exactly what the future looks like, what the chains that will be in most demand, which ones those are. But, we look at the building that's going on right now, we look at the adoption, we look at the capability, and we envision the future, and we make our best bets, because you can't stop progress. And the build out will happen, and it will happen soon, best believe that. And when it starts, if you have the right ones, if you have the chains that start ripping off towards mass adoption, that your major financial institutions, your big tech companies, that the world starts to adopt. If you have those chains, you can't imagine how big an alt season would look, and we're going to get there. It's already starting. And the good news is we have the ETFs in place. So once that starts happening, it's easy for institutions to jump in here. And they're front running to some extent. We've seen success from Ethereum. We've seen a lot of success recently from XRP ETFs. It's going to continue. They understand what the future is, but you will not start that sprint until these laws are in place and clear and final, and then it's on. The real competition begins. The race, as DM Logic used to talk about back in the day, man, I wish he would come back and make more content. Real smart guy, but, he would say, when it's time, they're going to open the gates and off we run. That's happening. Get ready. Don't listen to this. There won't be another alt season crap. Yes, the asset class underperformed. AI, precious metals, Bitcoin itself have done better than altcoins. There's been spots. We've done okay at times with our investments there. But the best stuff, it's on the horizon here. Where are you going to put your money? Well, most people like the things that have already run, that are already exciting. And I would argue, most people probably lose money for precisely that reason. You want the thing that's undervalued, that's getting ready to go through a big growth phase. And I think that's altcoins. I think our moment is ahead of us, not over. Let me know what you think down below.